This is the Power Platform Daily Brief from CRM Audio for Friday, June 21st, 2019. What you need to know about the Power Platform today in 10 minutes or less. I'm Brad Kuntz. Well, the phrase of the day is Center of Excellence. So Microsoft on the Power Apps blog yesterday announced the release of the Power Apps Center of Excellence Starter Kit. And if you're not familiar with that phrase, simply a Center of Excellence refers to an entity that is responsible for nurturing the growth of Power Apps and Microsoft Flow in their organization while applying the right administrative guardrails, according to the blog post. So in this scenario, the responsibilities of a COE typically fall into four buckets: administrative and governance, nurture, support, and operations. The blog post goes on to note that this release of the starter kit really focuses on those first two items, and that the support and operations piece, most of that functionality will come in a later release of the Center of Excellence Starter Kit. Had a good explanation of this from the Principal Program Manager of PowerCat from the Business Apps Summit.
It's about delivering a set of processes that you've put in place, and through well-educated people, and a lot of that training that goes with the talent part of it comes from the COE as well. And the COE, in some ways, a misnomer in the sense that it's all about enablement, right? It's the example that we have there of the nursery in there, because it's apt from a COE perspective. It's all about, like you plan out a garden. You plan it out, you need to have a thought around it, what you plan to grow, what you plan to do, and then you need to do a nurture motion around it. You need to do some defensive motions around making sure that what you're doing for nurture actually thrives, and then you also need to make sure there are guardrails for it to thrive the way you want your garden to thrive. All of that very similar to what you would do in a COE.
So let's unbox this thing. Let's talk about the different toolkit components that are available. So first of all, there is a Canvas app that is a DLP editor. And that really gets to the security aspect of all of this. The goal of the DLP editor Canvas app is to provide admins a view of what resources will be disabled if a new or updated policy were to be enforced. So of course that's going to be important. The second piece is monitoring. So you've got a catalog tenant resources with using Flow and Power BI. The next tool that's in there, CDS entities, looking at the environments, the apps, and the flows related to that. And to make visualizing data in the tenant easier, multiple components are included to help with such a tenant-wide view. So that also includes Flow, the ability to sync resources template. There's also a Flow sync audit logs. So it's not only important to understand what apps need support, but also to keep track of how the Power Apps and the flows have been increasing productivity, getting adopted, replacing old, or even creating new business processes. There's also a custom connector for Office 365 audit logs. And wrapping this all up, there's a model-driven app that is the administrative view that allows you to monitor these things. The next piece is around alerting and action. So there is a Canvas app developer compliance center. The compliance center is a centralized place where administrators can review all of the details of the app or the proposed app, make sure that it's in compliance, and if it's not, that's where the interactions with the maker are recorded, and the maker themselves can go and get the app into compliance. But all that's a centralized location so that you can look at it there. And the same thing with Flow. There's a compliance center detail request area. Once the apps have been approved and shown to be in compliance, they can then be added to the app catalog. And the most common reason for having an app catalog is really discoverability. And the last piece of the toolkit is a welcome email to new makers. So as we're trying to nurture and encourage the people within our organization to become makers, it's going to be important to keep in constant contact with them. And the out-of-the-box email that's automatically sent is editable, and you can put some rich data related to next steps for the maker themselves if they do need to have some sort of action related to their apps. Earlier this week, we got a chance to talk to Evan Chaki from Microsoft, and we had a great conversation that we posted 2 days ago on this podcast. This is the last part of that conversation, and interestingly enough, it's about Center of Excellence. Here's the rest of that conversation. As excited as everybody gets about creating an army of citizen developers, right? That can use these tools. That creates, as you would imagine, a certain amount of challenges for especially larger organizations that want to do this that want to embrace this type of platform. And it creates a certain amount of sprawl, and it creates the need for this kind of quality. One of the things that I learned about last week was really about this center of excellence. I would call it center of excellence in a box. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more about that, because I think selfishly that's something that I'm looking at for my own organization, because as we have a lot of folks who are really excited about the platform, we kind of need to have some quality controls in place, and we need to have some a true center of excellence for this.
No, that's right. In fact, we've heard that a lot as we start to meet with executives that come in and meet with us as a product team and IT folks and IT directors and those kind of things. The one thing that we hear is we cannot have another Access or Excel in our hands where we have all of these databases that we knew nothing about, and that's part of the power that we put together with the Power Platform is now you know exactly what's happening. So one of the things that we wanted to make was this Center of Excellence in a box, or Center of Excellence kit, where someone can download this from online, from our doc site. I think we're going to have a blog about it very soon, where I can go out, I can download that solution and install it. And it does a few different things. One is it'll go and if I'm an administrator, I'll be able to go and look across my organization and figure out, okay, what environments are there, what apps are there, what flows are there. But our admin connectors go even deeper. They'll tell me not just what's there, but who created it, and how many people is it shared with, and how many groups is it shared with, and what connectors are used inside of each one of the apps. So what we've done is we've taken all of the management connectors and we've made this a very simple tool to download, where it'll go through, it'll aggregate all that data, it'll put it into CDS for you. And from there, you can start to really manage that and figure out, okay, who are my top app makers? Who are the top apps that I have out there? What are they using across my organization? We've also included some charts and some graphs as part of that, so I can start to slice and dice that data. I can also start to see a few apps that come with that toolkit, where I can start to have nice experiences to go find apps. I can also see things like my DLP policies, and if I decide to change those up, I can quickly see which apps would be affected. So if I say, you know what, I don't want to have Outlook anymore as one of the connectors that's available for my end users to use, will quickly show, okay, these are the 10 apps that use Outlook. So these are the apps that would be affected, and this is, and then I can drill in from there and see which people or which groups would be affected there. So we've tried to make it very simple as a starter kit to say, great, we get the question a lot, how do we control it? How do we manage it? How do we know what insights are there? So drop this in, install the solution, fire up all the apps, and then you can start to see a near real-time experience of what's happening. I think that's one of the big things that a lot of companies out there don't realize is I hear a lot about, well, my company would never do this, or my employees, this is not something they would ever want to do. And then we look and people install this and they go, wow, I already have 50 people or 100 or 1,000 people using this every day. And it's really eye-opening to see, okay, now I can control it, I can administer it, I can govern it, and now I can really help kind of fan the flames of these fire starters that are building apps and making themselves more efficient. And really what happens is once people start to see that and they see the type of apps that are out there, they start to really get a sense for, wow, this can really change my business and I can empower my employees to do the type of work and build the type of apps that IT would never have time to build. And that's what's so exciting. And I heard just time after time at the Business Application Summit is all of these stories of people coming up and say, look at what I built and look at what it's done for me and my team and my department. So for me, that's been super exciting to see over the past week.
Yeah, absolutely. Is all of that publicly available right now?
So the Center of Excellence, I think we have a link out, so that'll be out there.
Okay.
There's some great stories from the Business Application Summit on the recorded videos. There was a whole track of customer success stories. I believe those are out there. So there's some great videos out for the people that didn't get to go to Atlanta and go to the Business Application Summit. There's some great links out there that we posted on our blog site at powerapps.com. And then also you can go to the Business Application website and check out some of those.
Evan Chaki, thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
That's it for the Power Platform Daily Brief. Power on.